Forza Inter. Barcelona dumped out the Champions League. Most people's favourites. Hansi Flick got the best attacking team out there. Lewandowski back. Raphinha, his Ballon d'Or campaign. Lamine Yamal, the best teenager we have ever seen since Pele. Pedri, probably the best central midfielder in the world. And Inter Milan have just scored 7 goals over 2 legs against them. That was an absolute classic. Genuinely, that was an unbelievable game of football. Over 2 legs. That is, as far as I can remember, probably the best Champions League semi-final I have ever seen. That honestly was unbelievable. Inter Milan win the 7-goal thriller. I mean, it had absolutely everything. It had VAR moments. It had comebacks. It had free kicks. Honestly, it was absolutely insane. We're going to break it all down. Make sure you go down. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you do go and hit that subscribe button. We are about 85 subscribers away from hitting 52,000. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Also, check out earlier's video today. Victor Gyökeres transfer update, as well as Bruno Fernandes potentially to Saudi. We've got so much to get into. But that, honestly, how anyone could not like football. 35 shots, 17 shots on target that game had. Sommer over both legs made something like 15 saves. I'm going to start with Barcelona's team. Obviously, I thought they were massive favourites to win this competition looking at the semi-final legs. And I hold my hands up. I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought Barcelona would get there. I thought it'd be a Barca-Arsenal final. I thought with the amount of firepower they've got. I mean, look at this team. Look at this team. Other than Arejo and Balde, it's pretty much their best back line. Pedri, arguably the best central midfielder in the world right now. Raphinha this season has been just absolutely insane. Scoring again tonight in the Champions League, 15 goals or something crazy in 16 games. He's approaching a 60 GA season. Lamine Yamal, for me, is the best teenager I have ever seen. Dani Olmo stepping up with a big goal. You look at their bench as well. Gavi, Arejo, Lewandowski, Fermin Lopez, Paul Victor. There's some familiar names in there as well. Ansu Fati. And it just oozes class the whole way through. And then you look at Inter Milan's team, which there's a lot of old veterans there. You know, Mkhitaryan, 36. Calhanoglu, 31. Beret is very experienced. But Acerbi, who scored 37. Jan Sommer's got to be mid-30s at least. You then look to their bench. Stefan de Vrij is a very experienced player. Matteo Darmian's mid-30s. Arnautovic is mid-30s. You know, and that they just know how to manage games out. And Inzaghi now has made 2 Champions Leagues in the last 3 years. Will this be their year? From a neutral perspective, this game, for me, one of the most... it reminded me almost of the World Cup final when it was France-Argentina. You kind of don't really know who you want to win. 1 minute, you're like cheering for Barcelona. The next minute, you're cheering for Inter Milan. And they started again really, really quickly, just like they did at the Nou Camp. They're 2-0 up before half-time. Lautaro Martinez stepped up with a big, big goal. Inter Milan's target man, number 9, goal scorer, leader, captain, whatever you want to call him. Inter Milan's main man stepping up with a huge goal to give Inter Milan the perfect start. And then 1-0 up inside 20 minutes. And Denzel Dumfries, I mean, this Champions League campaign, he's been absolutely unreal. Unreal. This campaign, he's got his Champions League campaign. I think he's got in the Champions League, I think he's got 4 assists and 2 goals in 11 games for a right back. You know, unbelievable campaign so far. 16 GA and 41 for a right back is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. You know, DeMarco steals the ball in a central position, guides it to Dumfries. Dumfries, you know, plays it across to Lautaro Martinez, who stays composed and calm and makes it 1-0 inside 21 minutes to Inter Milan. And then VAR check for a penalty. yet again into stride through open space. That's the only thing you would say about this Barcelona team with Kunde out. They're not really the most defensively strong. They're not the most defensively sound. They don't really have a world-class centre-back. Arejo's good, but he's very, very, very inconsistent. There's space behind that back line. Lautaro Martinez is left in a superb position to strike. Carraspi lunges into him for a last-ditch tackle, ends up getting a penalty, and Calhanoglu steps up with a huge, huge, huge penalty, makes it 2-0. Inter Milan are 2-0 up at half-time. And you're thinking, right, surely we're not going to witness another extraordinary comeback. Inter Milan will manage this game out, you're thinking at halftime. But we were all wrong, weren't we? 6 minutes into the space of 6 minutes in the second half, Barcelona score twice. They bite back early. First 15 minutes, Eric Garcia, unbelievable finished. Both backup fullbacks linking up for the goal. And the way that they were looking at Martin, the left back, it was like every time they got the ball and they give it out to him, it's like you're expecting prime Ashley Cole or Marcelo or prime Andy Robertson to just put a ball into the box. But he actually played well tonight, Martin. Puts a decent ball in, and the finish is absolutely ridiculous. Game on. And then, Martin scores the goal, gets the assist, delivers a dangerous cross from the left. Dani Olmo, who has got form for picking up little pockets of space and bagging big goals, makes it flipping, at that point, 2-2. And then Raphinha at the end, when you're thinking, right, they complete the comeback, 2-0 down, 3-2 up, that is it, game over. Raphinha, unbelievable Champions League campaign. And I do think he's probably worthy of the Ballon d'Or. I don't think they will give it to him, though, purely on the fact that they normally give it to someone who's won the Champions League. They might give it to Ousmane Dembele. This season, he's been unbelievable if he goes and wins it. In terms of his stats, he's got 11 GA and 13 in the Champions League. And I think across all competitions, he's got 45 GA. Hasn't been as good as Raphinha, but if he turns up tomorrow, if he turns up in the final, a lot of people's pick, runs into space, has a shot, Sommer saves it, gets the rebound, drags it 3-3, and then the most unlikely of sources for a goal, who's only scored something like 5 career goals, steps up, Francesco Acerbi, Dumfries again with a ridiculous ball into the box, low pace, they save themselves, Acerbi pops up in the box, an unstoppable shot, hits the roof of the net, and you're thinking, right, at this point, it's 3-3. It's 3-3. And at that point, Inzaghi made all these changes. And one of the substitutes he brought on, Davide Frattesi, bags the goal. A ridiculous left-footed, cold finish into the bottom corner. And then Barcelona huffed, they puffed. There was moments that, when it was 3-2, Yamal hits the post, and I'm thinking, right, let's see what Barca are made of now. And they had all the big boys on the pitch. They had Lewandowski. They had absolutely everyone. But overall, Inter Milan are in the final, and they will play either Arsenal or they will play Barcelona. Arsenal or PSG. A lot of people are going to say it's going to be a PSG Inter Milan final. Arsenal have got to have one unbelievable game tomorrow to go and turn that around against PSG. This Inter Milan team, they score a lot of goals. They've knocked out Barcelona on the way. They've knocked out Bayern Munich on the way. And they've knocked out Feyenoord. Last 16 quarters, semis. 4 against Feyenoord, 4 against Bayern, 7 against Barcelona. So that's 15 goals in 3 games, in the biggest games of probably their careers in terms of club levels. Let me know your thoughts down below. Inter Milan, I remember saying on the football terrace with Tom Little that they will go out, and he predicted them to win it. And we were talking about it and saying like how tactically strong Inzaghi is, and he's proved that tonight. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next one. I am out.